Welcome back to another episode of Passion Beer. Nick here with Shane, and Shane busted this one out of my beer closet.
Yes, I chose this tonight.
I know. I had this hiding back there for a
couple months.
It's
2011, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So December-ish, I guess.
Right.
2011.
You want to explain what it is?
This is a beer. No, it's Brooklyn Black Ops. It's a chocolate stout, bourbon barrel aged, clocking in just over 11%. So I mean, definitely a big beer.
Right.
With a lot of kick. Absolutely one of my favorite annual releases.
Yep.
Whenever this one gets released in our area, I always go out and buy a couple.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're not the cheapest of all beers, but definitely one worth picking up.
Yes. I mean, especially if you like that kind of, Imperial Stout.
Delicious beer flavor.
Now, I don't know, is this the actual black chocolate stout aged in bourbon barrels, or is it kind of just like a base Imperial Stout, you know?
You're putting me on the spot.
I don't know either. We'll have to look it up, but... I mean, they make their black chocolate stout, which is a really, really awesome Imperial Stout.
I mean, yeah, I know it's an aging type beer, but
I like it fresh.
From our experience,
yes.
The longer you let it age, the more bourbon gets out of the flavor. So, I mean, I enjoy this one very fresh. This is probably the oldest Black Ops that I've ever had, and we're about
a couple
4 or 5 months out.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, I mean, definitely. Darkest Night. I mean, it's pretty much
you can't see through this.
No, it's jet black with like a nice tan head. It's pretty small, but I mean, it's good.
Head,
good carbonation for like we said, the champagne yeast.
But what do you definitely pick up in the aroma there?
I mean, I think I definitely still get bourbon for sure. I mean, that's kind of like the bourbon and the barrel together.
I get a heavy bourbon feeling off that.
Yeah, definitely the bourbon and that woody oaky flavor. I think that comes off big.
You get a slight alcohol burn.
A little alcohol
on the back of the aroma.
You get some vanilla,
a lot
too?
of the chocolate, vanilla
for sure. Yeah,
those different accents definitely come out in their aroma. So
yeah, no, it's still.
Let's waste no more time.
Cheers. Oh yeah,
that is still delicious.
It still has that. Yeah, it still definitely has that big bourbon quality to it up front. And I'm gonna say, in relation to the ones that I've opened when we first had it, the carbonation seems a little bit more toned down, which I kind of like. Because when I first had it, I remember that carbonation being really, really effervescent, really bubbly, and kind of gave it a thin body. But this is really nice now.
It's nice and toned back.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want people to get the impression that, hey, there's no carbonation whatsoever. There's definitely a solid carbonation in this beer.
There's still plenty of it. It's kind of like fresh. It might be over the top.
Absolutely. And, I mean, you get a nice of the chocolate and bourbon aroma and different flavors coming out of this one, and it's fantastic.
That's very bourbony. It still has this barrel character to it. It's got a lot of chocolate and vanilla, too, which I really like. I mean, it's not too roasted or toasted, not overly, like, kind of charred, burnt in a way. It's definitely more subtle, more...
And it's nice. You'd expect something with, like, an Imperial Stout like this having a lot heavier of a body, but the carbonation, especially what's left in this bottle, is it's more mild, medium bodied.
It is. It's nice,
rather than a heavy body. Very, very sessionable.
Yep.
Without doubt.
For the what?
11.3 or
11.3. I mean, it's an easy drinking beer for something that big. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about that. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love this beer, and I think that's. I'm going to be a little biased here, and there's not a lot I can personally find wrong with this beer. Maybe because it's not year-round, I guess I'll have to knock it down.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to give this a 98. I absolutely I love Black Ops. It's always one of my favorite beers. Whenever I see it on the shelf, I always pop a big grin. And
yeah, you stockpile on
my gosh.
I'm the same way, though. So, 98.
98.
Wow, you are putting it up there. I don't think I'm going to go as high as you. I'm going to give this one a 95.
Okay,
but yeah, no,
very good.
I mean, I definitely think this is one of the more, at least in our area, it's pretty damn easily accessible.
Yes.
It's not something that you really have to kind of go out of your way for. It's not something that's going to sell out, within a day or so. I mean, you can find it for a couple days on the shelves. It's pricey, that's for sure. I kind of like it now that it's a little bit aged. I think the body has the carbonation has dissipated a little bit, when I had it fresh, it was really, really thin. It was really high carbonation, but I think some aging kind of settled that down a little bit. I mean, it's really good for being 5-6 months out of the bottling. It still has an amazing bourbon character. It's very balanced. It drinks so well for the high ABV.
I think this one is a little bit harder to find for definitely the West Coast folks because it's out of the Brooklyn distribution area. Right. But I mean, even around here, it's not the easiest beer to come around that December, November time frame.
Not easy, but I don't think you really have to go out of your way for it.
I think I remember reading somewhere that they ballpark only do about 1,000 cases of this. So, I mean, yeah, that's 1,000 cases is still substantial, right. But I mean, it's enough for the people that want it to get their hands on it. But I mean, if you wait too long, you're definitely going to miss the opportunity on this one. So,
right. I mean, we're not talking like a 1,000 to 2,000 release. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's bigger than that. It hits distribution, so that's definitely a plus for it. But I mean, it's a great bourbon barrel aged Russian Imperial Stout to get a hold of.
Absolutely,
it's a Russian Imperial Stout. I don't know. Either an American Imperial Stout.
It's a delicious beer.
One
regardless.
Of the two. Yeah, regardless. But no, definitely. Thanks for cracking this open.
Hey, absolutely.
I appreciate it. It's always a treat to have.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. And as always, cheers.
Cheers.